Enfield today. I am your host, Kevin Kibbe. We are going to have another awesome show tonight because we are going to be discussing the Enfield Community Cat Project. And with me in studio are my guests, Dawn Struck and Jennifer Brodman. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Start off with, what is the Enfield Community Cat Project?
So the Enfield Community Cat Project, we actually are a 501c3 nonprofit right now. We recently just got our tax ID number.
Good for you.
So we are an actual cat rescue, which is pretty exciting.
And how are you funded?
Up until this point in time, we have been funded by our very gracious and giving community. So we've been having fundraisers and we've been taking in donations. All the food that we have obtained has been through donations. Because in addition to being a rescue, we also have 5 feral colonies in town.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's over about 40 cats that we're feeding every single day. So
What is that exactly? I know what a feral cat is, but I mean, what is a feral cat
so
community?
a feral cat colony is an area where cats that aren't socialized to people have congregated, and basically that's where they live. It's usually in an abandoned house or an abandoned building, and so far there's 5 of them that are already in town. The majority of the cats, what we've done since around May, is we've tried to take as many kittens from there as we can because we can socialize them and adopt them. And we're also very actively TNRing. So when you TNR a cat, that's when you spay and neuter them. They get ear tip, they get their rabies, and then we release them back into the colony. Because the majority of the time, the cats that are in the colonies cannot be socialized.
Now, if you have a kitty that, gets loose or whatever, or I've seen this happen before where somebody will move and they'll just leave their cat behind.
That happens a lot.
Can a domesticated cat become feral?
So a domesticated cat that has been outside for a lengthy amount of time can pick up feral behaviors, right? So there's been a lot of times where we've seen a cat, we rescued a cat over the summer that was exhibiting feral behavior, slinking to the ground, afraid of people. We were able to trap the cat, put the cat into foster, and actually get them adopted. So,
Wow.
because they aren't used, a lot of people think that cats can fend for themselves.
Yeah, I
But the
always thought that.
society that we live in now, cats are dependent on human intervention,
Wow.
especially living in the Northeast, because when it's
When it's
10
cold
to
out.
10 below, they need just the basics, like us humans. They need shelter, they need
Sure.
food, water.
I mean, I've been watching you guys do this from when you started in March, and I think it's just, for me, I was talking to them off, before we started. For me, it's just neat watching,
Yeah.
to give back. Like, so what do you do with the cats that you rescue? I mean, there's gotta be a lot of
Yeah,
them.
so that's a great question. I'll backpedal a little bit. So I had lost my job in February of this year.
Oh.
And I'm working now, thank God.
Yeah.
But I had found myself, I was so used to being so busy, and I was very passionate about animals, but specifically I saw that there was a lot of stray cats in Enfield.
There are tons of them.
Yeah, so, and that is kind of what I started to try to do this by myself, and I started trapping cats and trapping pregnant
Now,
cats.
not to interrupt, but how do you trap a cat?
So we have a bunch of different methods. Right now, basically we have a group of over 300 people, 300 supporters, but it's myself and then there's another girl, Jennifer Jambard, and we're basically the only ones that are trapping. We have different traps that we use.
That's kind of neat.
Yeah, so it's kind of, we put camo on. I'm kidding, but we have regular have-a-heart traps, which I think a lot of people are familiar with. So we'll use that. We use that specifically when we're trying to TNR a cat. We also have someone in our group had built us a drop trap, which we use primarily over the summer. So it's a big has a wooden box outlined. It looks like chicken coop.
Right.
And then you put a stick under. It's very old school. You know, nothing
Kinda
high,
like pull the
nothing
string
high
and-
tech. You
yeah.
pull the string and then it comes down,
Wow.
and then we transfer the cat into another trap and into a carrier. So.
Now I know your intentions are good, but I wonder sometimes Kitty doesn't know your intentions are good.
Well,
That must be like.
Yeah, so it gets a little hectic because when we use the drop trap, we have to transfer to a have a heart trap, and then we have to transfer to a carrier. So I drive a Jeep, and usually we'll go in the back of my Jeep. We put all the seats down, and then we transfer the very unhappy kitty that just got
Right.
trapped into a carrier. So, and we've had one or two that have gotten loose in my Jeep. That was kind of interesting. But
Oh.
yeah.
I can only imagine.
But it's all for the good of the kitties.
That's awesome, Jennifer Brodman, welcome again to the show.
Thank you.
What's your role in the rescue?
Oh, I got involved with the Enfield Community Cat Project shortly after Don founded it, and I took on the role of secretary of the organization.
Nice.
So I'm more along the lines the paperwork process of making sure that we keep our meetings and everything's documented so that Don has it for her 501c.
If you have to go
Right.
back. So, but like, why did you join? Are you a cat person, or you just saw the need? Or?
I am a cat person. I've actually experienced having my cat be lost before, and I know how heartbreaking it is. So to see people who have pets that lose their animals, especially cats, being able to be a part of something where we're looking for cats and reuniting them with their owners, and taking abandoned cats that no longer have homes and trying to place them in loving homes.
Nice.
It's something that I definitely wanted to be a part of.
It's a beautiful thing that you guys are doing, and the lost cat, the lost animal thing really, breaks my heart, especially if I see, the young child. It's
Right.
hard enough on the parents, and I know it, the parents, and I know it is. But when you see like a little kid who's crying and she doesn't or he doesn't know, all he knows is that their best friend's not there, and so you guys helping to get that
Right.
awesome stuff. Now, how do you know, because I've seen this before, if a cat what's the difference between a stray cat and a feral one?
So there's distinctive behaviors between a feral cat and a stray cat. Feral cats, for the majority, they only come out at night, and they exhibit behavior that is a lot different than a stray cat. So feral cats don't meow. They won't initiate eye contact with a person. They won't come in contact with a person.
So they're generally afraid of people.
Right. So I just had actually a win story. I had in one of the colonies, I had actually TNR'd a cat earlier in the spring. So she was ear tipped and everything.
No, I'm sorry to interrupt. What does ear tip mean?
So it's the universal code for a feral cat.
Okay.
So when you get
Gotcha.
them spayed or neutered, the vet ear tips them. They clip the tip of their ear so that if somebody else comes along
You'll
and
know.
starts taking care of a colony, they
Gotcha.
know that the cat's already been spayed or neutered, so that they don't have to go through the surgery again.
Neat.
So anyways, I had TNR'd this cat early this spring, and then over time of feeding her in the colony every single day, she turned into the sweetest cat. So she started purring, she started rubbing against my legs, and
Wow.
I ended up trapping her with a carrier, brought her home, was socializing her, and she actually was adopted this past weekend.
I was going to ask that, if you say you have your own kitty, and you save a feral one who turns, sort of nice, are they able to interact good with cats that have been in homes their whole lives? I guess
It
does matter?
all depends. You know what I mean? So when we are placing cats with the right people, my main goal, and we actually have an adoption coordinator, and we work very closely together, is to make sure that it's the right fit, because I don't want to set a cat up to fail, right?
Correct.
I want to set the cat up to succeed, because they've already been through so much. So if there's a cat that isn't good with a dog, or if there's a cat that is afraid of young children. We make sure that in the adoption process that we are mindful of that.
And then you must learn see, that's got to be hard too. I'm just thinking about it now as I'm talking. You have to learn to know the cat as he goes, because how do you know he's afraid of kids, or
You don't. I mean,
it's a
I have
process.
a foster right now. One of my fosters right now is a 5-month-old kitten that we had trapped over the summer.
5 months old.
He's
huh?
5 months old.
Jeez.
He has a lot of very feral behavior still, so he still will hiss and lunge at me. But I'm working with him to try to get him socialized so that eventually
Wow.
they will be able to go to a home.
Now this cannot be cheap. So like, how do you support all these?
Yeah, I
cats? 'Cause
mean
that's-
it's super expensive. Just the food alone, just one of our feral colonies, they eat 18 cans of wet food a day.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And dry, and then there's vetting. So a lot of times when we get these cats, the stray cats off the street, or we trap a lot of the feral kittens, they need to have vet care. So
Yeah.
and it is expensive, and Enfield has just been an absolute amazing community to start something like this in. We have extremely generous donators. I have a Facebook group, and if I post that I need food within a day, there's stuff at my house. And I also want to give kudos to Enfield Animal Control has also been a great partner.
Have they?
And
Good.
they've been supplying us because we have about 15 fosters, and they've been supplying us with cat litter. So
Yeah, that's the other thing too, because all these little things, they have to add up, and you're not only just time involved and dedication and energy, but the cost, and you get to know this cat because this cat's different than this cat, and the needs of this cat, to put them at the right home. It's a lot of work, so kudos to you. Bob Barker's been saying this my whole life, okay? So we know. But for real, why is it important to spay and neuter a kitty?
yeah, I mean I think the biggest thing that I can get out there to people is please spay and neuter your cat. We see so many, even on the Enfield forum, I cringe because you see people's giving away free kittens, and then one female cat can have unspayed, and if she's stuck living outside, can have hundreds and hundreds of litters of kittens. And it's just, we have so many cats as it is. It's healthier for them. I get at least 2 to 3 people reaching out to me every day in regards to either it's a stray or somebody's trying to rehome a cat. And it's just not healthy for them either. We
Right.
have the overabundance of, kittens having kittens, and then, cats that are spraying because they're not neutered. And
I had a question for you too. My wife has said, about the free kittens and stuff like that. Is it more of an urban legend, or do people really go on Craigslist and, Facebook groups looking for the kittens for their
it is
snakes and
no,
stuff like that?
I mean, it is not an urban legend. I mean, there was an incident that it took place in Waterbury. And I think it was like the May-June timeframe where they were actually, it was a pit bull fighting ring, and they were spray painting the kittens different colors, and then the people were betting on the different colored kittens to see which one would live the longest.
Oh my goodness,
So,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of being in the rescue world. I'm a part of, I belong to a lot of emergency animal networks, and I get a lot of people reaching out directly. So the stuff that you see is not nice.
I mean, and you're doing such a good thing, and you're seeing all the positives, and you're placing this cat with his family, and the whole family's happy, and the cat's happy. But you must see some pretty dark stuff.
I do.
Yeah, on the other end of it.
Yeah, I know. There was a cat in town that I was trying to trap, and she had kittens. And I was able to get one of the kittens, but it had been bit by something. And then I kept trying to trap, and then they disappeared. And I'm assuming that it wasn't a very nice. I like to tell myself a story that someone came and rescued them, but in reality, yeah.
So what has your role been? Like, how have you been involved, and what impact has it had on you?
As far as an impact, it's definitely been a positive one. I am thankful that Dawn has created this group for me to be a part of, as well as the other members of the Enfield Community Cat Project. As well as being the secretary of the organization, I'm also on the fundraising committee, and we're doing a lot of things to help cover the costs that Dawn was talking about earlier, as far as vetting, TNRing, spay and neuter, also for supplies, and supplies to all of our fosters, because we also supply people who fill out a foster application and want to foster any of our cats. They go through a process, and if they have animals of their own, they have to be vetted as well. And we supply their supplies for them until we can find the cats that they're fostering a permanent home.
So, like, what kind of fundraisers do you guys do?
Currently,
or do you have anything coming up that you'd like to share?
We do. December 5th at the 99 Restaurant in Enfield, we are actually from 5 to 10 p.m. We are handing out flyers ahead of time so that a portion of the sales made between those hours that night will come back to the Enfield Community Cat Project to help with all the costs that we incur. We are also doing a gift wrap station at the Barnes & Noble in Enfield coming up in December. Do you remember the date? I don't remember the date offhand. It's coming up in December, and all the proceeds from that as well will go right back into funding for the CAT project.
Now, do some of the vets maybe, help you out a little
well,
bit and things like that?
We right now we're partnering with Dakin in Springfield, so that's where we do all of our spaying and neutering of the cats, because they give us a
Dakin's awesome.
Yeah, they give us
really
a rescue discount, and that's why we are able to, the goal of Enfield Community Cat Project is to rescue and then get these cats acclimated into a home.
Sure.
So we don't. Our adoption fees is probably one of the lowest. Because we don't really make any money on it. We're just covering our costs, so it's $80 to adopt a male kitty, and it's $100 to adopt a female kitty.
And that's
spayed and shot and ready
so
to go.
You don't have to do anything else after that for a while.
Right.
Now, what if somebody has a cat, or had a kitten or something like that? I guess Dakin would be one, but is there any place else for low cost spaying and neutering? Say for a cat that's not lost, but they need it spayed or neutered.
Yeah, there are some vets in the Connecticut area that offer it. I've been mainly using Dakin as because it's so close to Enfield.
Correct.
It's like 15 minutes.
Correct.
So I know
they're
that
set up for this.
Yeah, I know there's others.
Yeah.
There's one in Vernon. I believe there's one in Stafford.
Petco does have the team bus that comes once a month.
We did our kitty on the team bus.
Right.
It was pretty quick and efficient, and they didn't charge hardly anything for
Right.
it. And how many? If you had a guess, you might know the exact number.
I do know the exact number.
How many kitties have you rescued so far?
We're up to 104 since
Holy
March.
smokes.
Yep. So
Wow.
I track every single cat, the date that we rescued them, and
You take little pictures, like mug shots.
I have a lot of pictures. I have a lot of pictures of them. So, but I keep track of all the cats that we rescue, as well as the ones that we TNR. So we have a TNR log.
Now this is, what you're doing in the immediate. You're helping the kitty now. Long-term goals. What are you thinking?
I honestly want to open up a shelter in Enfield. I mean, an actual shelter. Right now, the laws are so antiquated that animal control's hands are tied. So if they see a stray cat, they will not do anything for that cat. But they will pick up a stray dog,
Correct,
and they
yeah.
will take it in. And we need a facility.
Have you looked into that at all? I
Not
mean,
yet. Now
no?
that you know,
Yeah.
the 501c3 will give us a lot of access to opening up a lot of new doors and grant money,
Give you a little leeway.
and I you know, I love to talk and I love to beg, so I will be talking and begging to anyone that will listen.
Now, if somebody watching, one of the
Mm-hmm.
viewers watching, if they're at home and they want to help out, what would they do?
Yeah, so we have a Facebook group, which is a
Okay.
private group. We have a Facebook page.
And
Our-
it's just simply the Enfield Community
It's
Cat Project, right?
if you wanted to send an email to our group, it's eccp16@gmail.com.
Okay.
And yeah, we would love the support. We have a lot of different things that are coming up.
We also have the Enfield Community Cat Project also has their own Facebook page, and Donna's also very active on the Enfield, Connecticut Open Forum as well.
Yeah, you'll find some lost kitties there.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, and then saving them. That's the part I like the most. Now you touched on it a little bit, but how can somebody become a foster?
So we, you know, if you were interested in fostering or adopting, you can send an email to eccp16@gmail.com. We have foster applications. If you send an email and state that you're interested in foster, which we're always looking, fostering saves lives. I mean, I have the utmost admiration for all the individuals that we have that are fostering right now. If you send an email address, we will send you an application. We are very careful about making sure that it's a good fit for the cat or the kitten.
You sound very thorough.
We are very thorough.
You sound very
we
thorough.
are very thorough.
And just to make it clear, when you foster versus adopting, the foster is a temporary? Is it
It's
like a
very
1 month,
temporary.
6 month?
Yeah, it all depends on the cat or the kitten. I mean, I had just fostered a kitten. I actually had the kitten for a day.
Oh,
And actually, because I posted it on the Enfield forum, I was inundated with applications for this kitten. So
And I like application. She says, like, you got to fill out.
You
know.
do.
And
We
good
do-
for you though, because
we do personal
can't be-
references and we
yeah,
do vet references.
You can't be too careful. You know,
Right.
in this
Well,
day and age, you know?
yeah, it's just you know, the cats have been through a lot, and we want to make sure that they're
Now,
going to be safe.
I guess we touch on this again too. Just so to apply to adopt a cat would be the same kind of process, right? And
It
then the
would be.
$80 or $100
Yep.
covers.
Spay, neuter.
I mean, that covers
shot.
the whole gamut.
Yep.
It really does. If I'm just going to ask you this weird question, why should someone join your group?
Well, it's a well diverse group of mostly ladies, so men feel free to join us.
Right? Come on, guys.
We're young, old, crazy cat ladies.
Yeah.
And it's about getting together for the common good of pets, especially cats. Because like Don said, cats get treated a lot differently than, say, dogs do. And Donna said before that they're like second-class citizens,
Yeah.
and cats are disposable, whereas other animals, especially dogs, are not. And I love dogs too, but people...
The focus is on dogs, a lot of dogs,
Right,
you know,
right.
and you know, you're bringing to light. I'd never heard of it until you know what you were doing. Thought of the idea, and once you started rolling with the idea, and I was following along on watching it, thinking this is a good thing, and this is a new thing. You know, I don't remember ever hearing anything like this before. So to have that going is just awesome. Now we've got a few minutes. I mean, how does it make you feel when you see and I know that the answer is kind of is, but when you see some cat that maybe is dirty and grungy and he was underneath some cars somewhere, and now all of a sudden he looks nice and he's, you know, healthy and going to a loving family, that must be an awesome feeling for you.
You know, it is. I mean, I was really impacted recently. I had actually a real estate agent had reached out to me that there was a tiny kitten at this vacant house in Enfield. And I was just sick because I work full time. So,
Right.
you know, I do all this at night and on the weekend. So I was just beside myself that I couldn't go and try and help this kitten. To make a long story short, she was able to get the kitten, and I went after work and was able to take the kitten. But it was a 6-week-old tiny kitten. Its butt was raw.
Oh.
It was starving. It was soaking wet because it had rained.
Right.
And it's extremely rewarding to be able to nurse it back to health, give it
has to be.
food, and then it was actually, she was just adopted last weekend as well.
That's so wonderful because, you know, and then if you see the cat that's living under the car, what you had mentioned earlier, they really can't fend for themselves so much.
Right.
How do they eat? What happens if you're not there to help them? I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
what,
a lot
do they
of
do mice or
there.
you know,
Well,
or-
I mean, in the winter, there is no mice. I mean,
Yeah.
people just don't. You know, I'll talk to people about Enfield Community Cat Project, and they're like, I don't see any cats. Well, that's because they're dead behind the alley because they don't
Yeah.
have any food, and it's like 10 below out,
Yeah.
and nobody's feeding them. So.
and that stuff. And again, what you guys are doing are awesome. We got a couple of events that you mentioned, especially the big one, December 5th. Don't forget, 5 to 9 at the 99 restaurant right over there on
Gotta
Route
print your
190.
coupon out. Print your coupon out.
Print your coupon out, bring it there, because a lot of the proceeds, or at least part of them, will go to help you guys.
Absolutely.
And you need all the money and all the help you can get. Any final things you'd like to add before we wrap it up?
Please stop by the Facebook page. Feel free to donate, join, comment. We look forward to having new members join, and just congratulations to Dawn on recently becoming a 501c3. We're
Yeah,
all very
that is
proud
good.
of her.
And how many members do you have, would you guess?
I think we're up to like 320,
Oh, geez.
350.
Well then.
Well, not compared to you,
Well,
Kevin.
no. I mean, you got that many people trying to help you guys out. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
And you must get a lot of random phone calls. Hey, there's a cat in my backyard.
Yeah.
You know, there's a cat up the street. And
Unfortunately, right now our main focus is Enfield just because of the funding. So I try to walk people through helping them where we just don't have the resources yet to be able to take cats from other towns.
yeah, and so you'd like to expand at some point.
Definitely,
you know?
absolutely.
And there's got to be somebody that's going to take your idea and use it in another town.
I think
you know,
every
and-
town needs an Enfield
Sure.
Community Cat Project. Every
Sure.
town does.
And if you could do that, or not you could do that, but people could do that. Just copy
Absolutely.
your idea if you don't mind.
Not at
You
all.
know, and,
Not at
and
all.
I'm sure if somebody in another town that happens to be watching this, you know, wants to do that, I'm sure they can reach out to you.
Absolutely. Definitely.
Guys, thank you so much. I want to
Thank
thank
you.
Dawn Struck, Jennifer Brodman, one more time. Been a great show. Thank you all so much for tuning in for another edition of Enfield Today. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.